Welcome to the newest and innovative talk show, Ladies of Society, with your host, Queen, the Black Butterfly herself. Tune in to the hottest new show as Queen brings you the news from her queendom of controversy.
Hi, welcome back to this segment 2 of Ladies of Society. I know you guys caught last week's show. We were discussing and bringing awareness to bullying, but we have Miss Tanya Kelly back in the building to complete this interview, give you some great information on this amazing event that she has coming up. Please, Tanya Kelly, tell our viewers about this event.
Again, thank you for Queen for just allowing us to just talk about bullying as well as the organization. I'm honored and blessed because it needs to be talked about more, and it also needs to have a platform, I think. So it's great that it's gracious that you have given us a platform because this is the first and of many, and it's just a blessing because you always give, different initiatives platform to grow and others to learn more about. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Listen, this woman right here, I know that I have her on the show discussing, her event for bullying, and this is important. It's also a platform of mine, so I'm honored to have you on this show. But this lady right here also does a lot for the community, and it's one of the reasons why, I've been paying attention to her, and I wanted to showcase her because, you guys are just now meeting her, but she's been doing a lot of amazing things, and you definitely will hear more from her on those very things and showcasing that on other shows. But on this particular show, because we are dealing with bullying, and she has this awesome event, and I wanted to share it with you guys.
Well, and August 23rd, we are having our inaugural fashion show, Anti-Bully Empower You fashion show. I am excited. I have 42 kid models from the ages of 5 to 17, and we will be strutting the runway, the whole goodness fashion show in itself is strike a pose for unity. We're going to take empowerment, we're going to take diversity, we're going to take anti-bullying, we're going to take these positive messages, even the messages that are not so great, and we're going to put them together, and we're going to bring awareness to bullying. And what you expect, if you have never been to an anti-bully Empower You, you're going to see these models. They're going to strut their stuff on the runway. We are going to have local and national fashion designers. We have Egypt Youthley. She is a junior Nations ambassador. She's from New York City. She has Chubline Incorporated. She's been to Hong Kong. She is only 13 years old, and she has her own line. She was in the New York Fashion Week. We have Who is Lauren James. She is another 7-year-old. She is such an inspiration. This is a first grader queen that talks about positive messages. She talks about giving back to her community on live videos every morning before she goes to school. She gives a positivity. Wow. She has a kindness group in Detroit, Michigan. She will be showcasing her designs, and then we have some local designers. We have Royale Fluff. We have Top Element. So there is so many. Then we have Stan B. Funky. She's out of Detroit. So we're going to be bringing an element where each designer, I'm always about the fashion because students love fashion. It's just a way of nature for them, but it's also a way for us to talk about that word bullying and how we can give back. You're going to come and see the 7 faces of bullying. I think as a parent as well as a community, we need to see what those phases look like. And we have a makeup artist named Crippled by Cosmetics. She's out of Cleveland. She is going to do a segment on the 7 faces of bullying. I just get chills even thinking about it, because I know from a parent standpoint and even as a child standpoint what those look like. We're going to have praise dance with the Exalted Praise Team, who's from Columbus, Ohio. So let's come on out. It is a wonderful, I am excited. We have partnered with Martin Jennings Center right there off East 11th. They have actually been gracious to host the event. And again, it's an inaugural event. We have 9 vendors, so you can come out and do some shopping. You can strike a pose on the runway. I mean, it's just going to be a wonderful Saturday afternoon. It's going to start the show's going to start at 2 o'clock, but the doors will open up at 12:30. You can do some shopping, eat some appetizer, take your picture, network. You already know.
Look
take
at some fabulous clothes for
kids. Take your pictures with the fabulous Empower You models. They are excited. And again, you know, there are a few of our students that are a part of models. I'll call them my model family already, that are now experiencing being bullied. And just with our one practice with our model director, Tracy Kane, it has just been, it's just growing. We just seeing the empowerment. We're seeing the inspiration where every morning they wake me up. The kids are waking me up and saying, "Hey, Miss Kelly, how your day? You know, you're coming on the Ladies of Society. Can you tell her, please tell Miss Queen we said hello." And
you gotta give them
just to be able to just, you know, empower them, instill them, because a few of them are going through this right now. And so to be able to bring this type of fashion show, but you know, fashion is always going to, sometimes it takes over. It does. And we kind of lose what really, you know, what you wanted to gain. And for me, I think it's kind of staying in the forefront. It's saying, you know what, the fashion, that's like the building, but the family on the inside is the Empower You. It's the bullying. And those are the dialogue that we want to get through, that it is happening, it's reoccurring, and what initiatives can we do? And I think the students are taking what we're giving them and they're taking it back to their school.
Well, I just want to say that I admire you and what you're doing, the concept, the fact that you are using fashion, which is, you know, one of my passions.
I know.
But the fact that you are using passion to bring awareness to bullying and actually opening up a dialogue in the midst of this presentation is amazing, and we definitely want to support. Ladies of Society will definitely be in the building. We want to do some interviews, some coverage of this event, and definitely bring you some more of the stories. Like I said, this is a platform that we're going to be addressing not just in this segment, but definitely some more segments, and just bringing you the real, the raw, the truth of this bullying situation, this epidemic that's getting way out of control, and it's affecting more youths every day, and they're getting increasingly younger and younger and younger, and we definitely have to put a stop to this. So I just want to commend you on coming up with this event and definitely helping and changing lives, and definitely giving people some hope, you know, and helping our youth. So we appreciate you for that. It just happens to be our segment of honoring heroes and sheroes of the community, both locally and worldwide, and we definitely had 2 sheroes in the building today. So you know, I want to personally tell you again that, you know, we appreciate you and acknowledge you for your efforts and for your work in the community and for the change that you've created. Well, let me go back because I want to let the viewers know more information pertaining to the bullying. When you found out initially that your daughter was being bullied, how did that affect you as a parent, first of all? And then what did you think in your mind, what do I need to do next?
And as a parent, it was, for me, I was angry because I didn't know. It happened before with my oldest, not to the extremities that we were at now, but why didn't I see the signs? I think that's the first initial action for me as a parent, and even for others. Like, why didn't I see the signs? Did I, you know, my daughter still kept up with her grades, and that anger. So it's like I call the 7 steps of bullying. It's that initial anger. Like, how do I address this? You know, where do I go? And those are those first two things that kind of, and then the sadness takes over. Yeah. Because I got to go to work every day, and my daughter got to still go to school. And that's where the sadness comes in at. So those three emotions really, it took effect for me. Even that first full month that it was happening, I didn't even know how to deal with my daughter's emotion because I was still dealing with mine. I was mad, I was anger, I was sad, and then I was kind of just bewildered, like, who was these kids? I wanted to know, like, who are these kids? And that's when you go to the second, that going into like maybe that fourth and fifth stage, you go to the school. And then that takes on a whole nother emotion. And
people tend to say that, you know, in going to school, like, oh my God, that makes it harder on your child, that makes it worse on your child. Did you experience that once you went to her school and confronted them?
Yes, it did. It makes it worse because now your daughter becomes ostracized. Especially if your daughter has to tell them who they are. And that's what my daughter did, because that's what I've taught her. You know, if things are happening, you want to tell because you're thinking that the school is going to protect you. And even as me as an educator, you know, that's how I feel. You know, I am an advocate for my children as well as my school babies. So when it doesn't happen, it comes madness to you. It's like, what do you mean? You know, it's not bullying. They call it everything else but bullying. Not when my daughter's hiding in the bathroom.
I think that sometimes, you know, society doesn't pay attention to a lot of things. They minimalize it. I know that when we were growing up in our era, you know, they would always say, oh, that's normal, that's kids things. They'll get over it. They'll, you know, be on something else. And that was never the case. And I think that in 2019 with the bullying, we have to definitely take different measures to start changing things. We make it harder on the children. Of course, kids are going to internalize things because they're not going to want to tell on their friends because they want to be friends. They're not like us as adults that, oh, we'll just walk away from the friendship or terminate it. It's a little bit different in school, you know, where they're around children and then they tend to internalize it and keep these things a secret. But we as parents can't, you know, upset ourselves like, oh, you know, why didn't I see it? You're not going to see it if your child is hiding it from you. And these are the things that we have to, as parents, not beat ourselves up about. This is, no, you're not going to know if your child is not telling you, you know, and your child is resuming acting normal. It's a protective mechanism. But once you do find out, and that's where, you know, a lot of parents are monitoring their kids a whole lot more through their cell phones and different things of that nature. And I'm sorry if you underage, yes, your cell phone should be monitored. Your computer should be monitored, you know, because society is different now.
Sure is.
You know, a lot of things are raising our children. Social media, these reality shows where, you know, we are encouraging people to attack each other, and they're seeing all of these things, and a lot of these kids watch these shows and they're mimicking this type of behavior. You know, so they take it into the schools, things that they watch, and then a lot of kids go ahead and they know it's wrong, they know the bullying is wrong, but they go along with it because they don't want to become the target.
And that's what I call the bystander.
The bystander.
And that's, you know, that takes on a whole nother, it's like there's so many layers. Like you said, it's where our younger generation, our 60, 70, 80 babies, we were taught, oh, it will go away. And I think sometimes that mentality still stays because the educators and administration are from our era. So
they say the
same thing, but it's not, because to me, you will be more well knowledgeable. But as it comes out with my daughter, and even other children, your friends become the bystanders, and they're afraid to be bullied or don't want to be involved, so they kind of shun away. So now that push that child and now into a whole nother realm.
All alone.
And then they're going to school where they don't want to go to school. And that's where my daughter, she didn't want to go to school, and she had to go. She would be hiding in the library. She would be in the bathroom, and I would be getting phone calls. And it was just 3 months. It happened in the summer, and by the time I found out, it was September the 15th. I was standing in the middle of social studies class, and I got that call. And she was screaming. And I thought it had to get a fight, never knowing that it was bullying.
How old was she?
My daughter was her senior year of high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Her senior year of high school, where your senior year should be the highlight of your life. And when I say the highlight of my life, it was the highlight of our life, of where it was turmoil.
Wow.
Becoming a parent that I saw on the news.
Wow.
A parent that had to go to the school and now be an advocate for my child in a way that I never thought I would have to be. Because now, you know, when you go to school and you're having those conversations with teachers, administration, you're on a parent level. But I had to come in a whole nother realm. You know, when we were dealing with the situation, I got that phone call. I went, and she was like, "Mom, being bullied." When, where, why, how, why?
Right.
And it was just the tears were flowing, and at that moment I was just like I was now. It's like I could relive it. I stopped, and all of a sudden I started to talk in a language that I never really talked in, and it was becoming an advocate. I asked those questions, those hard questions. Who are the children? What even about who are the children? What classes were taking place? Where was this taking place? And moving forward, this went on for 3 months before I actually had to remove my daughter from school. My daughter was a cheerleader, and she was being taunted at school. She was taunted at home. They would come to her house, and it came to realize that there were people that she actually knew that were doing the bullying. And the word bullying got dummied down to, oh, it's just high school drama.
Wow.
High school drama when I'm going to file a restraining order against children that are... So when I say I had to become an advocate, I actually had to start doing my own research, how to have a conversation with educators. And I think this is why I started my organization, because you have to come with a strategy when you're dealing with schools, because of the language that is put in front of you and what they tell you of what they're thinking. So you have to come with a language of your own. And as a parent, when we see our children get to the place of suicide, a lot of it's because a lot of us just don't know. We've had what I call roundtable discussions, and there was nothing ever put on paper. And that's where my experience came. I was that roundtable discussion parent. I had all these discussions on parent, about what was happening, but the bullying never ceased. It got worse. It became where I had to actually go and take my child physically out of school. My daughter didn't get to participate in her senior activities because of these bullying. But no one was there for my child. You know how when you send your child to school, it is you for 8 hours. You are in the hands of your school parent.
Right.
And it was not that. So after my daughter, one day she was like, you know what, Mom, I'm done. I want to check out. This is by the time my daughter went to ECOT, and we got her enrolled in ECOT, and that still was hard too. When you're in your senior year, you have to leave your school where you've been going, your district, for almost since the second grade.
Exactly.
She didn't get to walk with none of her friends. She had to walk at ECOT. ECOT was the blessing, the small lining that we could probably have a whole nother session about ECOT and what it gave to me in my life and for my child's life to keep her alive, because they knew, So
it had gotten that bad to where your daughter felt like, I no longer want to be here.
I want no longer be here. And when you have, as a parent, hear that,
that is devastating to know that, because that's something that's so permanent.
It's
it's not like a temporary solution. No. Like, you haven't even been on earth long enough and already feel like things are so overwhelming, that I no longer want to be here. And I know it for us as adults, when we go through experiences and we go through trials and tribulations and how overwhelming it is for us, can you imagine how it is for a child?
And that's the thing. And that's why I put that that question, overwhelming, back to administration. How would it feel if you were being ostracized or you was even being bullied in the workplace? You're gonna go to your union rep, there's gonna be a meeting. If that person doesn't leave you alone, you're gonna be fired. So why is that not the same thing? Why is that the same initiative that we take with our children? Why should our children have to deal with that? And my daughter did graduate, but those 6 months, it forever changed me. When we start organizations as a parent, it's for a reason, because of a life experience that we have been a part of, and that we can give other parents. So I took all those things into consideration. I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna have this passion event. And when I say it just took off, like that week, I had 35 models, kid models, and at that time it was 10 were experiencing being bullied, and their parents wanted tips of how to deal with just talking to their child, trying to get more information, how to deal with the school, how to contact the school board. And just through my experience of dealing with my own situation, I was able to provide them that service.
That's where we're going to stop you.
Yes.
Because that's where we're going to pick up another story that we're going to showcase and discuss and hear what she's been through with her child. So stay tuned. We will be right back. This is Ladies of Society. I'm your host, Queen. Stick with us. This show is being brought to you courtesy of Queen of Queens Productions, Modeling and Management. Hi, and welcome back to Ladies of Society, and I have this gorgeous woman with me right here today by the name of Tracy Kane, and she's going to share with us her story of how her daughter was bullied. Hi Tracy, welcome to Ladies of Society. I'm glad to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. It is such a privilege to be here with you today.
Well, thank you.
You for letting us share our story with you today.
Of course.
It's such an honor to be here.
Well, tell me, what happened? How did this start with your daughter?
My daughter is Aliana Kane, and she is 12 years old now. This started when she was 11, the first 3 months of middle school.
Wow.
She went to school and she wanted to learn a different language. She wanted to learn Chinese. And as she entered the class of Chinese, she was picked on for no apparent reason. And she has felt that steam for a long time.
Wow. So that kind of probably made her feel alienated, like most children who are bullied feel.
Exactly. They have made her feel that she is not wanted.
Wow.
So the first 3 months of school, I did not know she was being bullied in class, her Chinese class. She would report to the teacher and tell her the things they were saying, calling her all kind of names, all these things that made her want to lower her self-esteem. But she finally broke down.
How did you find out that your daughter was being bullied?
She came home crying one day and broke down and told me that she didn't want to be in Chinese anymore. And she basically said she didn't like it no more. And I knew something wasn't right.
Because she had such a passion for learning it.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we started asking questions and asking her what was going on, I started learning about the name calling. I started learning about how they were in groups in class and nobody wanted her in their group.
What was the final straw with her being bullied where you said something has to be done?
When her materials start being stolen. They took her backpack and no one would talk. But the kids that wanted to talk said if we do, they won't be our friend anymore.
Wow.
So we can't tell, we want to tell you who took your things, but we can't. They had told her if they exposed who stole her items in school, that those same kids wouldn't be their friend anymore.
Wow.
So nobody wanted to come forward. Even though all the kids in the class saw these things happening, they didn't want to be outcast.
So what was your next course of action?
I went straight to administrative. I saw one of the principals outside and I made it known her supplies were now being stolen, and I let them know that it's got to stop. I let her go these 3 months, try to figure it out on her own like they want the kids to do, and try to work it out through communication, and I was done.
That's kind of hard as a parent when you see that your child is being mistreated.
Right.
I think it's definitely something that has to be done, training individuals to be able to come in and do something about this problem.
I agree.
Especially since, you know, so many young people in taking their lives, committing suicide behind being bullied. In your daughter's case, what solution or resolution has occurred since you brought it to their attention of her being bullied?
They pretty much let me know that they were going to talk to these students. One of the administration went into class and said, "This stops today. If I hear any more about it, actions will be taken."
Okay.
And that was it.
Okay.
There was no one-on-one. So I reached out and I contacted Tanya. And I said, "Tanya, I was involved when your daughter was bullied. What did you do? How did you make this thing stop?"
Right.
And she said, "It never stopped. I had to take my daughter out of school. You saw how I had to get her in different programs." She had to keep her daughter's focus on what the next plan was.
Right.
And I thought, mine is only 11. Her daughter was a senior.
Exactly.
My daughter's only in the 7th grade. I got a long way to go. So I said, what can I do? Because they don't give you phone numbers. When you look at the school board, their dialogue, and you look at their different things to contact the school for, it doesn't say for bullying. We got together and we looked into the school board's position on this, and I made some phone calls. And then when I got back with the school, we had another meeting. And our meeting ended with my daughter basically getting back in school because they realized, her position, she was fending for herself for a long time.
Yeah.
And she couldn't handle it.
Right.
But we pulled her out of that class.
Thank
We
God.
put her in another educating class that would give her a career goal. So when they were still secretly saying things to her and doing things to her, she didn't, right away go tell because nothing changed.
Right.
So I basically intervened myself. I became more involved. I'm now going to the school early. I am now volunteering for whatever I need to. I am now in the office holding my own meetings.
I'm glad that there is some resolution. It's not a complete resolution, but it's a start, and that's the most important thing. Now, before I let you go, what would you like to tell our viewers in reference to if your child is being bullied and what methods, what techniques they should do?
Is to talk to your child and get what they want out of it. Ask them what would they like to see done. Ask them what would make them feel better as a person, what would make them feel more empowered. How would they want it handled? Because after all is said and done, your child is still the one at the end of the day fending for themselves when no one else is watching.
And if you have any bullying stories and you would like to definitely bring more awareness to it, I'm definitely going to encourage you to contact Ladies of Society. And I want to tell you, Miss Tracy Kane, thank you for sharing your story, and hopefully it has touched the viewers and it has helped someone out there and bringing awareness to anti-bully. This is something that's so serious. It's increasing daily, and something has to be done about this. We are losing precious lives who are just beginning, just starting, and we have to put a stop to this. For everyone who sees the type of behaviors, television shows, we have to start holding each other accountable and responsible for what it is that we are passing down to our youths, that it's okay to maliciously attack individuals, and also instilling in our children that when you see individuals being attacked, don't be a follower, be a leader and bring attention and awareness to it. And for any children, adults, teenagers, men, women who are being bullied, even as adults, because bullying comes in all forms. It comes in forms of businesses being attacked, human beings being attacked in general, and this has to stop. We have to start holding ourselves accountable and doing something about this epidemic that is definitely on the rise, and something has to be done. And this is not the only time that we are going to address this issue. It's something major. It's affecting our youth, and it has to stop. This is Queen of Ladies of Society. Make sure you tune in next week to Ladies of Society, the talk show for women and the men who love us.